results. And then I heard about Dinovite supplements for gut health, and all of the reviews sounded just like my Bella. After just 2 weeks, she had major improvements with the smell, and no more scratching or dragging her stomach across the carpet, and her coat is more beautiful than ever.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
The IRS, the world's most aggressive collection agency. They can seize your property, bank account, and garnish your wages. They cause sleepless nights for millions of Americans. Don't be one of them. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, get protected today. Call 800-312-9970. Coast One Tax Group, protecting your bank, home, and your sleep since 2008. With hundreds of 5-star reviews and an A+ on the Better Business Bureau. Call Coast One Tax Group, 800-312-9970. Stanley from New York owed $93,000. The IRS placed a levy on his bank account. Coast One released the levy and settled with the IRS for $2,000. Mark in Michigan owed $225,000. After Coast One stepped in, Mark walked away paying less than $1,500. Call Coast One now. A 10-minute call can save you up to 93% on your back taxes. Get your fresh start today. That's 800-312-9970.
KCMC AM, translated on K300DW Texarkana. All sports, all the time. Straight from the Michelob Ultra Fan Cave. CBS Sports, 107.9 The Fan. You're listening to the Houff and Gill Show with your hosts Tyler Houff and Earl Gill on 107.9 The Fan.
Welcome. Can you hear me, Tyler?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, welcome to the Power Hour with Houff and Gill. It's a glorious Tuesday morning. We have a special guest. Her name is Miss LaTonya McElroy. We have a jam-packed show, and I don't know. What's up, Tyler?
The same old. Another Tuesday morning.
True. I don't want to start on a somber note, but Sunday, my aunt passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man.
So I have to shout out Aunt Connie and Aunt Ann.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's weird. Them the people I thought about when my aunt passed away. I was like, I got to shout out Aunt Connie and Aunt Ann.
Understood.
But yes, we have Miss LaTonya McElroy. And she is our first female guest.
I realized that yesterday. I said, we have yet to have a female on here.
My wife Mimi told me that. And she was like, I'm glad
y'all
are
Mimi
finally.
has been on here a couple times,
but
not
she's my
as a
wife.
guest,
Yeah. But she was like, I'm glad y'all are finally bringing women on. And I'm like, yeah, baby, I love you. My wife pregnant and it's different. So we have Miss McElroy.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. Thanks
yes,
for
ma'am.
having me.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
morning.
Good morning.
So I see you once a month at our Education Foundation meetings, which we have tonight. So you'll be sitting over there, but I also didn't know that your husband's looking at me, so I want to make sure I say the right thing. You are a complex woman with layers. Once I read your bio, I didn't know that you had this many layers professionally. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's awesome because you are a product of where me and Tyler work.
Yes, I am.
You're a product of that. Like you said that the first day. I was listening to you at the Education Foundation meeting, and you were like, this is what made me here, so I have to come back here to make sure someone else gets what you got, you know. Would you like to speak on that?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like as people, we can never forget where we came from.
Absolutely.
Every single experience, it could be a third grade teacher, it could be a person who's serving lunch. Every opportunity, I remember so many amazing opportunities that I had at Liberty ILO, and I think it's the first place I learned how to lead. Liberty ILO was just a different environment. They let students lead. And I got out in front of people and I talked and I led, and we had a great group of administration people, and obviously everybody talks about the legacy, the man, the legend, Mr. Robert Utsey, but I cannot talk about Liberty Yalo without talking about the impact he had. But I'm telling you, it was the best education. And I feel like if we're going to do anything in life, we have to remember to come back and to pour back into people, especially at Liberty Yalo, or that was good ground for me. So I want to come back and make sure I give back to that same that school the way it gave back to me. Now my mom and my grandmother went there too, so it was kind of a legacy thing there. So, and I have lots of family, Tyler, and
I didn't know that was weird. I was like, "This is cool." I'm like, what? Please plug your book, because I think people should know that you've wrote a book and where to find it and where to get it.
Okay. So I wrote a book called Workforce Champion, Breaking Through, Imagine Better, and the Principle of Growth. And the whole point of this particular book is about breaking through. I guess I could tell you about that too, but first let me tell you where to get it. It's available on Amazon, and you can order either the paperback or the digital version. And I have a few copies, and I wanted to give one copy away here at the radio station today. So if somebody, I want to give it away. I don't know how you want to do that, but
I don't know. I want it in my office. I want it in my office.
You gotta buy yours.
Man, I'm broke, Tyler. But okay, I have a question for you, Miss McElroy, that I wrote down, and I want your honest on it. The question is, could you please discuss how to effectively network to advance professionally and personally? Because in your bio, you're holding really leadership positions, higher upper positions, and you're well versed, you're cultured, you're diverse. So how can you explain that and go in depth with that?
Yeah, I would love to. I didn't talk about the book, what it's about, but it is about Imagine Better and the Principle of Growth. And honestly, a lot of times we don't realize the opportunities in front of us. First of all, it's the objective should not be, I want to grow, I want to get better, I want to advance. Although that's your personal goal in life, getting involved in networks and getting involved in boards and United Way was one of the first things I got involved in, and other ways to give back. The number one reason is to serve. Right. It's to serve, and it's to learn. Right. What I can tell you is that I got involved in things that I was passionate about, and a lot of times people don't want to do anything above and beyond the 9 to 5 or whatever their job is. If I'm getting paid for it, then I'll be there. Right. But what I found out is if you will give your time, if you'll give of your resources, you are learning in the process. I'll never forget when I first joined the local HR chapter. I was a part-time HR assistant, and I barely knew anything about HR at that time. And I walk in a meeting and they say, "Hey, LaTonya," and they welcomed me in, and then they appointed me to a volunteer role. Well, I didn't know any better. A lot of people don't want to volunteer. I didn't know that, so I was honored when they asked me. But I'm learning, over the course of years, people don't even want to volunteer a lot of times. Now we have this is a great community. I'll say Texarkana. Rarely do you find as many people volunteering in a city as we have. We have some amazing people in Texarkana. But I got involved, and I'll never forget Joey Martin, the owner of Express Personnel. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Owner of Express Personnel and few other people who were instrumental in getting me involved. They appointed me to a committee called Workforce Readiness. I had no idea what it was, but here's the thing. Getting involved in networking is about stepping out there and maybe doing some things that you may not feel like you're equipped to do, but you learn as you go. A lot of people want to have it all together, have everything in line, and they're afraid of failure or afraid of looking like they don't know something. And I just was surrounded by people who allowed me to grow. And I will never forget one of my first projects for Tri-State SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resources Management, in that role for Workforce Readiness Committee, was I went and got in touch with the School of Success, Liberty Yalo School of Success at that time.
SOS. Shout out to them.
Shout out.
Which was like the middle school or high school somewhere.
Yeah.
When I
was Mr. Garrison over it then?
I think so.
Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah.
Great dude. I did job fairs with him, but.
Yeah, well, it was about 15 let's see, 16 years ago.
Okay.
So went out there, and what I worked on was a series that helped them prepare for the real work world. And we did everything from financial, I guess, seminar, and we did things on workforce and job skills and career readiness, and we dressing for success. And basically, I divided it into weeks. And y'all, I had no idea. I have the owner of Express Personnel doing a session. I have friends and family. I'll never forget the city of Texarkana, a couple of the ladies there. My sister and friend, my Twana, she reminded me I had them out there, her and Miss Rose Stewart. There were so many people who could have been doing other things with their time, professionals in their field, that were coming out and pouring back into those students. And I was passionate about that. I had no idea, I was giving my time. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about me advancing. But what I didn't realize was when you're doing things, you just never know who's watching. When you're giving back or when you're serving, people are watching you.
It's true.
It was training ground. For a lot of things, it was me up in front of people talking, and I had no idea I was being trained. But it was also people like seeing that, and I'll never forget one of the most important phone calls in my life, in my career, came from that man, Joey Martin. Call in and say, "Hey, LaTonya, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm working, Joey. How are you?" And, "Hey, I'm great. Would you mind meeting with a friend of mine there?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I'll meet." And it's lunch. He said, "Over lunch be okay tomorrow?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, and I don't know what I'm meeting them for. I just say yes, because if Joey asks you something,
You're gonna
say
do it.
yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
He's been good to me and so many people in our community. So I was like, okay, yes. And he said, "Oh, well, they're looking for an HR director." So these are the types of things that happen. It's not because you go out there saying, "I'm going to volunteer for this so I can be seen and so I can be noticed." You do it and you serve. And what happens is people see your passion and they figure out where you may fit when they have an opportunity that becomes available. They may think of you. But ultimately, that's the reason I join a lot of these organizations, is because I absolutely love serving. And the people that I've met over the years, there's just, there are no words.
Yeah.
So, and we need to value relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's one thing. Not to cut you off, but a lot of times it's not about what you know. Sometimes it's about who you know. You know what I'm saying? Because having those connections can set you up for success just as well as what you might know in your mind. I do have a quick question for you related to the book. The subtitle of the book. Tell me the subtitle. I know it's Workforce Champions. It's Breakthrough, and tell me the second part of it.
Imagine better and the principle of growth.
That's my question. Imagine better.
Oh my goodness! I'm so glad.
Imagine better. What was your motivating factor of writing the part of imagining better?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm gonna tell you, Tyler. A lot of people have this story, and so I'm not the only one with a story like this. I can tell you right now, probably many of the people listening can tell you a story just like mine. But I'll never forget, I thought I was, doing okay. I had a sort of a career. I was a paralegal, and I was going to work, I was going to continue to grow in that area. And one day I had two girls, one was on the way. So I had the third one, and I took a couple of weeks off, literally. I went back a couple of weeks later, was ready to go back to work, and I was excited. "Hey, I'm ready." And he was like, wouldn't see me. Well, as it turns out, the lady who had previously been in the role came back, and she started back in that role, which she had gone to school, and things didn't work out. So it wasn't like it was a negative. She had literally grown up in that firm. So I still love her. I still, no hard feelings. But I didn't have a job, and that was not a good thing. Right. So I have three children. One is just born, and I needed an income, right? So at the same time and in the same time frame, I was suddenly, I will say, estranged. I was suddenly single. I was married, and I had lived 7 years up north with him, came down here for a year, and I don't know what happened, but
life happened.
Yeah,
and here I was, just me by myself
right.
with three girls.
Right.
Now, of course, I had my family. I've always had my family. I wasn't able to sustain my my children and myself at that point, and so I had to rely on a lot of support. And I'll tell you, I was really down to what people call it rock bottom. And when you don't have anything, I didn't have my own place to stay anymore. I had nobody to help me raise these children as a parent, and then I have these 3 children to take care of. And guess what? I had not finished my education, so it wasn't like I could just go out and I didn't qualify for a lot of the jobs that would have made more money. The long and short of it was I had to apply for jobs, and I was on public assistance for a little while, and I had to apply for jobs, and I was open to whatever. And I remember going to the FedEx on Texas College in College Drive, and I applied, and I didn't care what job they offered me. I was just looking for a job. They offered me a part-time package handler job. Probably people listening, 50 of y'all have worked that job. I don't know, but they offered me a part-time package handler job. I would come in, I had to be there at like 5:45 in the morning. I would unload these freight trailers that were backed up to the back of the building, unload the boxes, all sizes, and throw them down the belt. That was my job. And then I went and actually I met Arthur, and I had borrowed some money to pay my loan, and I was going to pay my loan at Red River Credit Union with borrowed money. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
And I talked to the teller. I said, "Can you help me out? Wondering if y'all have any part-time openings." And she said, "Yeah, go get an application from Miss Kathy." And I'm like, "Oh God!" I freaked out, and I decided when I was on my way out, I was not stopping by to get that. The lady next to her baby, her name is Veronica. I'll never forget. Veronica Hernandez reached in her drawer because she overheard me, and she handed me an application. Shout out to Veronica, owner of Veros Latinos grocery store on
New Boston
Road.
Hold on. Pause your story real quick. We got to go to commercial real quick.
We're going to finish that, though.
Yep. We'll pick right back up on the note. You're listening to the Power Hour with Houff and Gill on 107.9 The Fan.
Are you looking to upgrade your home theater or audio system? Well, Clear Sound Audio Video has the products and expertise to help you do just that. With featured specials like Samsung TVs starting at $319 and Eclipse speakers starting at $250 a pair, you know you're getting the best for less. So be sure to check out Clear Sound Audio Video's showroom at the corner of Kennedy Lane and Cowhorn Creek.
Hello, this is Sidney Moncrief, former Razorback and NBA player. I know what it means to be strong defensively. You can help your team win. When it comes to COVID-19, your best defense is a COVID-19 vaccine. Getting the vaccine makes you a true team player, helping protect those people around you, especially those at high risk. So when it's your turn, don't miss your shot. I know I didn't.
Sponsored by this station, the Arkansas Broadcasters Association, and UAMS.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and text us,
if you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Houff and Gill. And I'm going to shout out our studio sponsors. Budweiser. Miss McElroy doesn't drink. I don't drink. But sometimes Tyler, he done got this check. He like turned up. He done spent half of it already.
That's a story.
And Liberty Islo High School, where leopard pride never dies. We're all entrenched and engulfed in Liberty Islo in this room, and we love it. But we have Miss LaTonya McElroy here, and she was finishing her story about Red River and the lady that owns
the Hispanic store on New Boston Road.
Oh yeah, shout out to her.
Yeah, she's awesome. So she was a teller at that time, and she handed me my application. you just never know who's going to be. That was awesome. That was a God moment for me. I was like, okay, that must mean I need to fill this out. So I did. That ended up. I go in for an interview the next day. Now here's the thing: when you turn in the application, which I did later that day, I came in and I handed it to the older lady, Miss Kathy. And sometimes we think that when we're turning in applications, or when we're filling them out, or when we're the people we talk to at the front don't matter. Miss Kathy is the reason I had that job. I was really nice to Miss Kathy, and I was kind, and I smiled, and I handed her my application. And Miss Kathy made a phone call, obviously, immediately to Miss Karen Rhodes, the director of HR. And I got a call before I even got down the street. And I said, well, can I come in tomorrow? Because I'm on my way to get Kalea, the little one, from daycare. And so she's like, yeah. I came in and I interviewed y'all. I thought I was interviewing for a part-time teller position, which would have been fine.
Right.
But she says, you know what? I really think I want you for this part-time human resources assistant job. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I didn't know what she was talking about. I know what I was going to be doing. But she thought of that. And I ended up with this part-time job, which they kind of they were just creating, because they were just needing some help there. And so I ended up going to FedEx in the mornings, washing in the bathroom at the credit union, changing clothes, going to that job on 3 days a week. And on 2 days a week, I found a part-time job at a law firm. And I was working 3 part-time jobs. When I talk about imagining better, which is one of the principles in this book, I talk about that during that time, I had 3 part-time jobs. I didn't have enough money to get by, but I sat there in that seat and I found out that I was passionate about HR. And I started thinking, you know what? Miss Karen, she would say, LaTonya, you might be replacing me one day. You know what she was doing? She wasn't really just focused on that actually happened. She was giving me a goal. She was giving me something that I could see. And I'll never forget picturing maybe one day. And I started studying and I started learning everything I could about HR. I went back to school and I got degrees and certifications. And I never would have done that had I not been able to imagine better. And so Imagine Better is about, literally in life, we're going to have, sometimes we get those 2-prong ladders, if you imagine a ladder, and maybe you weren't dealt the best hand. Maybe in life you only had the 2, and somebody else may have had the 5, and somebody else may have had the 7. But if you will climb to the top of your own ladder, and with your imagination build the next prong and keep climbing, because if you will imagine it, then you begin to build the framework to actually have it. And I know this is not a Christian show necessarily, but that is
we Christian, but
yeah, straight up,
definitely
straight up. We believe in God over here now.
Hey, and that's really the principle. The principle is in the Word of God. It's not like it's something new. He says, I will do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask or think. And really, when you look at that, it's whatever you could imagine. We're creative beings. We're made in His image. And if we can imagine something, we can make it happen. We can actually build it. And I just think that sometimes we feel powerless in certain situations. Where if we can just see ourselves, envision ourselves better, we will start acting like it. And sometimes I'll pray and I'll say, I know you're going to do this, I know you're going to do that. And the thing is, I'll hear deep in my heart, well, act like you know.
Right.
And so if I acted like I knew that could be me, then that meant I knew I had to do some things to get ready. So I took taking advantage of that time to prepare. Imagining better will make you begin to build the framework and start putting the meat on the bones of what you dream. Because if it's just out there in the dream world, it's just a fantasy, right?
Yeah.
It's out there.
But put some action behind that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Miss McElroy, there's a couple of reasons why I asked you to come on today. For one, you are a woman in business, in upper management. And that's tough in our society, no matter how you cut it. 2, you're a minority woman in a space where there's not very many minority women. And last night, I got me something to eat from a restaurant, Roadhouse. They employ a lot of young ladies and young men from Liberty ILO, and excuse me. And the young lady that she was giving me my food, she's like, Mr. Gill, you don't know me? I'm like, what? And we were talking. I was just like, man, make sure you listen to the radio in the morning. There's a lady who started out like you, who is now the boss of people. And I think that representation matters. And was it difficult being a minority woman climbing the corporate ladder? Because a lot of people don't, Oprah's never told people how hard it was.
Yeah.
Or,
Wow.
anyone.
First of all, I applaud that young lady and anyone who's doing, what you consider maybe this is not the long term for you. But I applaud you doing it. All of my girls worked at Roadhouse. And I told them, and I've always told them, work hard no matter what you're doing. Don't think of any job as menial, because every single opportunity you have, see, it's not about necessarily what people see you do. It's about, when nobody's watching, do I really go through and follow all of the protocols? And okay, this is a night checklist that I'm supposed to do all these things. And I see a lot of people say, I'm not doing that, and they won't ever know. Check, and don't do it. No, what you're doing behind closed doors, what you're doing when nobody's watching on those, what you consider menial jobs, that's what matters. And I always say, work like you're working for God, because ultimately your paycheck comes from Him, and He sees. So when we're doing our jobs, don't worry about what other people are doing. You do. You go above and beyond. You do everything that you're supposed to do, and I know for a fact you'll be rewarded. That's how promotion happens. It's about what you're doing when nobody's watching. Now, back to what you were saying. I'll never forget the day I sat across the desk from a woman who was hard on me. This was even later in my career. She was really hard on me, and I never really understood it. Now, maybe I did have opportunities to grow. Maybe I was immature in some areas, but she was in a position to help me. She was in a position to be able to say, hey, LaTonya, if you'll do this. And by the way, I was Darniche in high school. I was
That's
not
what
LaTonya.
I know you as.
Yeah. Darniche Houff.
That's what I wanted to tell Earl. I was like, Darniche.
Who is LaTonya?
I'm sorry, so people that's listening know you as
many of the people from my childhood will know me as Darniche, because that was my name all throughout.
Because that's what they were calling you in the meeting. I'm like, what are we doing?
That's what I know.
Like, her name says LaTonya here. He's calling you Darniche. You say Darniche.
Oh, see, I didn't even notice that. So, I just got all thrown off. So anyway, she was in a position to help me, and instead she tore me down. And I'll never forget the days that she made accusations. She said I was doing things, and I don't know what she was talking about. And it just hurt me to my core, because attack everything, but don't attack my character. Don't tell people or have me, put my name out there that I'm doing something that's not right, because I wouldn't do that. And so it was hurtful, but I'll never forget the day I was getting evaluated. And it was all these negative things. And I was working 60 hours a week for these people, okay? And it was because I loved what I did. I remember my grandmother had a stroke, and I was in the hospital doing my turn in the hospital with her, and I had my laptop doing work and stacks of paper were doing work. This is what I did for this job. And when I sat across there and I got all those negative things said to me, I was hurt. It still hurts right now thinking about it, because I know there are people out there that have dealt with that. It hurt. And then that wasn't the worst part. She told me I would never be a director of human resources. I cannot believe that came out of a person's mouth, first of all. But those are the types of hurtful things that may happen, because there's an ingrained hatred in some people's hearts. It has nothing to do with you sometimes, and then sometimes it's everything to do with you. But whatever, whether you're a minority or a woman, or just for whatever reason someone doesn't see you as the ideal fit, you can't let that stop you. It hurt me, but it actually drove me. It drove me to keep going, and I'll never forget. I wasn't a director then, but I got to be a director later, and then I hired as a vice president, which I work hard for that. It's not like it's a free title. I actually work hard for what I do. A lot of people say they just give titles away. No, I actually work hard, and I make sure that I try to do my best before God and before people to do the best that I can, to be all that I'm supposed to be. I'm not going to have a title and not do the work, right? So, not only I exceeded what she thought or said I couldn't do. Why am I telling you that? Because I know that no matter what anybody says you can or can't do, you can. And I remember there are certain people who remembered me when they were in rooms and called my name. So it's important to recognize that I didn't achieve these things on my own, but just know that if you're persistent and you continue to grow and move forward and shine, let your passions shine, do the work, serve, people will notice you and call your name. And that's how I ended up in places like on the board for the Chamber of Commerce, people like Steve Mayo. That's why I ended up, serving in certain roles. It was people remembering me. But I'll just tell you this, no matter what people say, what they think, use it as motivation. Use those negative experiences as motivation.
Yeah. I needed to hear that.
I'm telling you.
I ain't gonna say why, but I needed to. Man, that hit me right. Well, I want to cry. But yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Because as minorities trying to either enter corporate America or climb that ladder, it's me and Tyler, I'm 35, I listen to certain music or I identify with certain things that maybe a younger group identifies with. And, my older superiors may not understand that. And I don't know. I think that they hitting us, boy. They know I was finna hit them with something. We're going to come back.
They send you the break, huh?
Boy, they hating on me.
It's getting good. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Power Hour with Houff and Gill on 107.9 The Fan.
107.9 The Fan. Sports Update with Chuck Zach.
Juan Soto became the second youngest player to win the home run hitting contest last night. 23-year-old Soto beat Seattle's Julio Rodriguez in the finals. And while Soto won the trophy and the $1 million prize, it was really Rodriguez who was a revelation. He hit 31 home runs in the first round to beat the Rangers' Corey Seager, 32 more in the second round, where he eliminated two-time defending champion Pete Alonso of the Mets. The Major League Baseball draft continues today with rounds 11 through 20. Yesterday, Caleb Bolden from Texarkana, who played for Pleasant Grove, the University of Arkansas, and most recently TCU, was selected by the Red Sox in the 7th round. 8 members of the University of Arkansas baseball team were selected yesterday, including 4 pitchers and 4/5 of their starting infield. Alex Morgan scored a penalty late in the second half to guide the United States to a 1-0 win over Canada in the CONCACAF Women's Championship Finals. That win gives the U.S. women's national team a spot in the 2024 Olympics in Paris. That's a look at sports. It's brought to you by Fast Signs.
In this up and down economy, with a sense of protecting every penny you worked so hard for to achieve the all-American dream, let Stewart Title, with over 150 years title experience, handle every step of the closing process to give you peace of mind. The vast resources and customer experience is second to none. If it's your first house, commercial real estate transaction, or refinance, Stewart Title Texarkana will provide that peace of mind. Call 903-832-3720 to schedule your time today.
If you deal with chronic pain due to arthritis or nerve damage, CBD products from Texas Freedom can help.
My husband brought this gel home Monday. I immediately put some on my leg and got the first good night's sleep I've had in over a year. I feel like I'm living now instead of just existing on the couch.
Texas Freedom, 4446 West 7th, has non-addictive CBD products made in Texarkana. See the Texas Freedom website or Facebook page for monthly specials. First responder and military discounts for veterans. Texas Freedom, 4446 West 7th Street.
Did you know there are 52 Arkansas state parks? Yep, one for every week of the year. Not that we expect you to visit all 52 state parks in a year, but you could if you wanted to, starting this week. So whether you like to hike, canoe, swim, fish, or just relax, all 52 Arkansas state parks are open and ready for your visit. Pick your park, your place to stay, and plan your next adventure, all at arkansasstateparks.com. Brought to you by this station and the Arkansas Broadcasters Association.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Houff and Gill. And once again, thank you to our studio sponsors. Budweiser, Tyler's favorite brand.
That's a story.
Miss McElroy don't even know what Budweiser is. We're going to keep her away from it. Huh?
Yeah, she said thank you.
Oh, well, okay, bet. And Liberty Hollow High School, where leopard pride never dies. And shout out to Elamine.
Yes, sir. My special nephew.
Yeah.
I love you.
That's my dog. I love Elamine to death. That's my guy. Shout out Miss Misty Houff, too.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting your son come across the United States with me that spring. I appreciate it.
That's funny.
But
we do. And we have a book from Miss LaTonya that we're going to give away.
Don't call her LaTonya now. Call her what you been calling her.
Darniche. I call her fam, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, but now we do have a book that she has signed and everything that we're going to give away. We're going to figure out how we're going to get it away. So just keep listening in throughout the rest of the show if you want to enter your name in a drawing for her book, which is Workforce Champion: Breaking Through, Imagine Better, and the Principle of Growth. So what is the principles of growth? What do you say the principles of growth are?
Well,
is it just one, or is it?
Yeah, the principle is just one of principle of growth. It's really on the concept of the seed. You know, a lot of times we think when we are under the pressures of life that in dark places that, you know, that's the end. But I like to say you're not buried, you're planted. And if you will allow the force on the inside of you to exceed the negative or the whatever the forces are that are external, you will break through. It's a principle. There's nothing that can stop someone from growing. A lot of people say, well, I can't. I don't care if you may be in a role that you may not want right now, or maybe not your ideal, but if you're learning and you're studying, you're going to continue to grow and eventually break through. So I call it the principle of growth is just about the concept of the seed. It may not look like what it's going to be. Doesn't mean it's not going to be everything that it's supposed to be. And people may not be able to look at you and identify. You know, Tyler, maybe they look at you and say radio personality. But
hold on now. They trying to take him from me already. Wait a minute. I need Tyler teaching math.
When I hear you speak, I see great things because I hear it, both of you. But I mean, I'm talking to you specifically because that seed is in you, and I don't know what you're doing, but you're nurturing it and you're allowing it to grow. And a lot of that is in the book. So I talk about that a little bit more and add a little color to that.
Man, no, you don't. Because they already trying to take Tyler. We need to read it, but they trying to take Tyler away from me, Miss McElroy. Like, I need him teaching math. I need him teaching these babies.
I'm not going nowhere, man.
But you do have a certain power of the power of positive reinforcement. And I hear that from you. How do you keep the negative away? Because I don't hear nothing negative come from you.
It got to be
somewhere.
You know,
it flies in the air.
You know what's funny is
it be hitting me.
Yeah. First of all, I have to say, I'll shout out to my children, Christian, Kaylin, Kalea, Brandy too. She's a bonus daughter I have. Kalea has her first song, and it's been on the radio. It's been on 104.7. Look how she do it.
I've heard it.
So proud. She's out of Prairie View now, so it's all
PV.
Shout out to her.
PV.
Okay.
FaceTime is in the house, and I love it. Thank God for FaceTime, because I would be a pitiful mama. It's just me and AJ and Arthur now. Of course, Christian and my grandson Katie.
So you have younger children?
Just AJ.
How old is AJ?
He's 15. He didn't get out of he was the one that didn't come in this morning. But
does he go to school at Ellie?
No, he's at Texas High. He's an athlete. He goes above and beyond.
Well, he needs to be at Ellie.
Telling the wrong
never
person.
mind. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I can't be saying that.
Let me explain. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, if I was working in the district for a while, so that's why they all kind of started there. So
I'll give you a break today.
Yeah.
I remember when Chris made the transition. So from Ellie to Texas High. So
she's never let me live that down.
Why? She wanted to stay on the island.
Yeah, she had fun. That was my high school time. I know it was fun.
It was turned up.
She loved it.
Different world.
What does your daughter do at Prairie View?
I'm not supposed to say this, but
okay,
she's
then
Black Fox in training. We'll put it like that.
What is that?
She's tried out, and Black Fox are
the dancers. Okay.
So she loves to dance and she loves to sing, but she's also pretty smart. She's doing marketing. She's sunshine when she enters a room. So I know whatever she does with regard to marketing, she's gonna be great. But
good with numbers, huh?
No, good with sales and marketing and getting people to getting people
to be a part
want
of it.
to do something.
We might could use her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You are good with numbers as far as getting your money.
Yeah,
she's great with that.
Yeah. Makes
so what year is she?
She's just started.
She's
She's actually in the summer bridge program right now, working with band and taking 2 classes. They do this whole thing in the summer. She won't even be back before the fall. Wow. But the negativity, it happens. I'll tell you right now, I hear so much negative chatter in my head. It's not even funny. If I canceled out all the negative from outside of here and I only was dealing with the negativity in my head, it would be more than enough. You hear me? Because every day it's our responsibility to overpower that negative chatter. You can succumb to it. You can just sit there and listen to all those negative voices, and maybe it's somebody that told you would never do something. Maybe you're hearing, sometimes the grandparents, and my mom is amazing. My grandparents are, my daddy, I love y'all. But there are people who raise their children saying negative things to them. And those things, they just kind of stick. And you rehearse those things in your mind and your head. Yeah. And even though they're done saying it 10 years ago, they said it, that's the type of chatter that replays in our heads. And it's also our negative self-talk. I mean, you think, okay, why me? I mean, you see all of your flaws. And I'm just going to say this. You have to have some fortitude and some stamina. I mean, I read God's word. I think, okay, how do you see me? But also, I continue to speak to myself, And the other thing is, when it comes to negativity will have you focused on yourself. And that is the trick. If you can just be focused on me, then you'll always be worried about self-conscious. I can't do this, or I'm just constantly thinking about yourself. The best answer for negativity is focusing on others. Serve others. Work on the things that you need to work on. Don't be in denial about your weaknesses. Deal with them. But capitalize on your strengths and use your strengths and use them to serve others. Focus on others. Make others the center of what you do. Serving is, a lot of people think it's all in the being out front. No, the good stuff is in serving. I have been serving for 5 years, working with children in the church setting. Shout out to my church, Mount Pisgah, is where my husband's pastoring now. But
where's that at?
It's at 1505 Feeney, Texarkana, Texas.
Okay.
Mount Pisgah.
Mount Pisgah. Okay, I like that. Me and my wife have to, if you listen to me, we might have to do something.
We love the Lord over there. But anyway, I mean, for 20-something years before this assignment, I've been working with children at church, and that's when going to school, sometimes full-time and part-time, while working full-time, raising a family, I continue to serve. So my thing is, take that negative chatter and shut it down with, obviously prayer, getting positive things on your mind, whether it's through music or just whatever it might take to get you some positive things going into your ears and your eyes. Eye gates, I think these are all your, doors.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
Let some positive stuff come in those doors, because sometimes we listening to stuff that's causing that negativity.
Yep.
But
but people be telling these kids, man, listening to the young boys gonna get you.
Yeah, get some positive. Don't have the stuff that's making you all depressed and everything. But then also and angry, but also serve. Focus on somebody else, and I mean it'll make a difference, because you don't have time to sit. You don't have time to sit up there and wallow in negativity. And
Where
depression.
did your serving nature come from? Because I started pouring into others about 6 years ago, and my life has completely changed for the better. It becomes second nature once you do it for so long. So like, where does your serving nature come from? Because I'm not gonna lie, some of mine comes from personal. I get happy when I see young men doing what society said they couldn't do. So maybe that's your
motivation.
Yeah. So, but where does your serving nature come from?
Well, I can't really think of any one thing, but I do remember, of course, student council was awesome.
Okay.
I mean,
who was your sponsor back then?
Oh gosh, Miss Smith. She's not there anymore. Mrs. Smith. She was also my gifted and talented teacher. She was probably everything. She was an English teacher. She was gifted and talented. She was student council sponsor. But we were doing student council. That was back in the Mr. Don Rader days. He's awesome too. He took us to Lake DeGray and all that stuff. So we learned serving in school and everything. We would be out there painting the paws and getting the school ready. And I was running campaigns to keep everything clean. And I was president one year. But the real place I learned to serve was my church. I was at a church, St. Paul, right? St. Paul on North Cooley Drive.
North Cooley Drive.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. And shout out to Pastor Robinson and all the family there at St. Paul. Nani, Bercy, Canary, all of you, Kim. I was there, and I was like, one of the youth, we called it Youth Alive, and they said, go to school, invite everybody you can. And I'll never forget going into the school and inviting everybody I could to church. And they were like, whoa, we had a huge turnout. And one of the guys that came, he came to the altar and he dedicated his life to God. And to me, that was really the thing that ignited something in me, because he, a couple of years later, died in a car accident. And his mom came up to me and said, I thank God for you, Darniche, because I know where my son is. I know that he's okay. Because she said, I remember him coming home and telling me that he came to the altar and he gave his life to God. Well, that was the ultimate, to me, the epitome of learning, that you never know what seed you're planting. You never know when you're serving in any capacity what it's going to do. You're planting a seed, but the harvest you may never see. It may way down the road. But, it's great when you do get to see it, because then you realize the importance and the value, of pouring into other people.
And I think people, I ain't trying to harp on church or anything like that, but people don't realize the significant impact church can have on you. Not only receiving a word or whatever you need spiritually, but building connections, serving, and all these other things. Because, like, for instance, I served as a kid in the media ministry at church and still do to this day under Christ Nations under Pastor Iron. But learning those things and serving, it trickled down to me as an adult now, and I'm still doing some of the same things. And now, you can take some of those things and utilize them, in different other ways. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, being in a setting as such is definitely what builds that serving spirit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I genuinely do think that. But anyways, we got a quick break coming up in about 30 seconds. So I do want to ask you one question about your book before we go to break real quick. What was your motivating factor behind the book?
2018, I'm driving down the road going to Austin, Texas, and I literally feel like I'm getting a download. I don't know how to explain it. When you download and you plug in the USB and stuff starts coming, it just started coming to my head. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to say this out loud. And then eventually I pushed the recorder and I just recorded myself speaking all the way to Austin. I was going to volunteer. And it was, I don't know where it came from, but it was like, I got it, I had to get it out. And this piece right here, this book, is one of probably 4 or 5, because I haven't even finished transcribing.
First of many. So you got a series.
And it's all already recorded. I just got to transcribe it and organize it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's just a download. That's all I can say.
Well, we'll take a quick break. We'll come right back with some more Miss LaTonya McElroy. You're listening to
Darniche, quit playing.
I can call it that.
Yeah. Okay. I can't.
You listen to the Power Hour with Houff and Gill on 107.9 The Fan.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When you look local first, you help local businesses grow and employ more locals, providing direct benefits to our local economy.
When your car's not running right, that's just the worst, isn't it? Nobody wants to get in a car not knowing if it's going to get you where you need to go. Trust the folks at Anderson Automotive, 804 Spruce Street, to keep your car running right with their professional mechanics and full line of automotive repair.
If you're remodeling a bathroom or building a new house and you need a shower door or shower enclosure, or maybe custom mirrors are just what you need, Texarkana Glass can help you turn your place into a relaxing oasis. Find them online at texarkanaglasscompany.com or on Facebook.
Does your car make more noise going down the road than a Sherman tank? Sounds like you need a new muffler, maybe even an entire exhaust system. Take it to Ray's Muffler, 801 East 7th Street in Texarkana, specializing in custom exhausts since 1965.
To help your local business community grow, go to looklocalfirst.com and click on Texarkana.
It's 47 minutes past the 7 o'clock hour.
Boy, Jeff called me mad. I gotta get to work. Ooh wee, Jeff hot. Man, Jeff don't call me this early.
I was gonna say he never called you in the studio. That's
Boy,
rare.
I gotta get on the phone, Jeff. We got some business to take care of. But we have Miss. I'm from LE now. We have Miss Darniche Houff.
Not Houff, don't call
Well,
McElroy.
she say this. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. McElroy. I'm sorry, but I didn't know that this was Elamine's aunt and
You know none of that, huh?
Miss Misty sister.
Small world, huh?
Boy, me and Elamine locked in for life.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I knew that. I meant to tell you that, but
my
mind be all over the place.
But we have Miss McElroy.
Final segment. It's been a good show too.
It has.
We need to bring her on more often.
I was gonna say that off air in a couple of months. Would you mind coming back on? But it'll be earlier. I don't know if you want to do that.
I don't know.
Earlier?
Like 6 to 7.
Yeah, we usually on at 6
I had to
o'clock.
go to bed. Somebody said if you go to bed earlier, you can be a morning person. I'm gonna try it because I don't. I don't consider myself. I'll do it.
Tyler come in at 5:58, 5:59.
Because we go straight from here to work.
Yeah.
So we go from here, then work at 7:30, and it's like, my goodness.
Yeah.
Makes for a long day.
It is.
But thank you. I want to publicly say thank you for doing not only this, but doing the ad for us. It's going to be lovely. I can't wait till it comes out in August. She's our alumni spotlight.
Yep.
And it's going to be good for people in the community, Texarkana, and also young people from Liberty ILO to see that you can leave here and do this, Jack and Gill, this, all the clubs that you've been into, all the different things that you're a part of. And I go back to representation because I believe, young women need a positive role model, and I know they see the female rappers and they see what's on TikTok and Instagram and this, and this, but there's a time you got to grow out of that. And there's a time you have to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, education defeats poverty every time.
Absolutely.
And I think, just young women of our community need to see women such as yourself, because there's not a lot, just being real.
And I'll say, as I've gotten busier, it has gotten harder to be committed to some of the things that I've always been able to give a lot of time to, but I'll never forget the training ground, and I still give as much as possible. But I will say Texarkana College is a great place to start if you're not sure. That's where I went. They have lots of programs, that not just the kind in the classroom doing English and math. I mean, there are lots of programs, life applicable skills, and also, trades is what I was trying to find. Thank you, Tyler. That you can take and use and really are lucrative. People think you got to have a bachelor's degree, but if you have certain trades, you probably have a better chance of getting a job.
That's true. Earl said they make more money than him one time.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Or he said the trade people would trade.
What? Yes, they make a whole bunch of man.
You don't have to go to a 4-year university. Go if you really don't have a passion for that. Get a trade, a skill that's different from that, and use it. Just do what you're passionate about.
Right.
Don't sit through torture for somebody's piece of paper that you don't even really want because you think it'll open doors. It really won't, if that's not your passion. But also Texas A&M is a great place. I did go and get my 2 associates from Texarkana College and a bachelor's from Texas A&M Texarkana. We have a great opportunity here in this area. We also have University of Arkansas at Houff. We have so many things available to us here. So even if you have to work your way through it, even if you have to pay out of pocket, it's worth it. It'll pay dividends for your life. I mean, it'll multiply your lifelong income, your education. But as far as role models, I don't consider myself a role model. I just try my best not to mess up too bad. I live my life thinking about my kids are watching me.
Yeah, true.
And we, once we hit a certain age, we have to really just realize transition into I'm a mom and I can't do everything that everybody else
Reality
does.
got to set in sometime. Huh?
Transition. I'm actually an adult. I need to get serious.
That's hard. I'm sitting here thinking
Adulting,
man, I'm finna have
it
a
is
child.
horrible, but man, it got to be done.
Transition.
You got to be done.
Like I wish I was Tyler's age sometimes. I can still cut up. And,
And people say, I'm not, I can't do it. I'm not sure if I'm able to do it yet, or I don't feel like I'm the person that should be doing it. And they just don't feel good enough to do certain things. Right. And I said, look at how old you are. I'm 45 years old.
You're 45?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
and so the things that we want to put off and say later, or I can't, I need more time to get ready for it. You're going to look up and life is going to pass you by.
That's true.
You are not too young to do anything
Whatever you want to
that's
do.
in your heart to do. And you know, don't put it off thinking when I get older people will listen to me, or when I get older maybe I can try that. There are some things that take maturity, but I say you don't know how much time you have. You don't know how much life is in front of you. Take advantage of today. You know, I'll go to school in a few years. Well, if you can do it now, why are we waiting a few years?
Absolutely.
In a few years, you could already have that certificate, that license, and a job, or that certification, or that
Women
degree.
at 45 are different.
Maturity
They're
level,
purpose driven. Like there's a lady that listens to the show, Miss Davis. Shout out to you, Miss Davis.
Hey, Miss Davis.
Yeah, she's 45. I didn't know she was 45. Wow, man, I'm 35, and I'm like, I hope I can do half the things that like you and her and these other women I know that are 45. I'm like, y'all are almost 50.
Yeah, we start realizing time is running out.
Yeah.
You have to do it while you can.
You got to move smarter, huh?
Move smarter.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
You got to move
I
smarter.
like that, Tyler.
So,
smarter.
Imagine better. Do you own that slogan? Because don't
Yeah, you need a
please
shirt with that on
Please
or
don't be
something.
mad if you see LEISD Facebook page come out with some Imagine Better.
Please do it. Please do it.
Because I don't want nobody calling my boss on me.
No, you know what we all people can claim all that they want to. This is new and that's new. Everything we have is regurgitated. We find a way to resource it. We find a way to reorganize it. Absolutely, whatever motivates and inspires, especially if it motivates and inspires Liberty Allo students. I would love for you to.
So we got like a couple minutes.
We got 1 minute.
Leave us with something real quick, Miss McElroy.
Okay, I knew you would ask me that. Let me think. You know, I really think about Mr. Utzy when I was in band. He used to have these mottos, and he would drill them into us. And people, I mean, he was, woo. If you didn't do things right, Mr. Utzy was the type that would thump your fingers. He was the kind of person that no matter who you were, if he saw your potential was up here, he wasn't gonna let you settle for here. And he used to say something all the time. He used to say, we can, we shall, we will.
We will. Yep.
We can, we shall, we will. We can, we shall. He used to yell it, and he used to make us say it. And I'm just going to say this. Find you a few things, a few phrases that motivate you, that even if you don't believe them today, if you keep saying it, let it sink into your mind, meditate on it, find some good words, some positivity, and continue to believe it. Because I think that those years of hearing him say, because we all have these slogans that we remember him saying, and a lot of people we get together and we can come up with, oh yeah, he used to say this, and he would say it over and over and over until you believed it. And so that's what I would like to leave everybody with. Find you some motivation. Find you something that can inspire you, and say it to yourself every single day until you believe it. Because everybody who is listening to me, I believe if you see you've imagined better and you have some goals in mind, if you're willing to put in the time to grow, I believe you can, I believe you shall, and I believe you will.
You've already been the victim of a careless driver, and now you find yourself at the mercy of $1 billion insurance company. Don't be a victim twice. I'm Monty Murray with the Murray Law Office, and I can help you through this process. So give me a call at 903-823-3000. We're located at 3918 Texas Boulevard here in Texarkana. I'm Monty Murray, and I'm telling you, don't be a victim twice.
If you've ever stood overlooking a bluff on Petit Jean, floated the Buffalo, taken a leisurely